Fresno State Focus, how Fresno State honored the 100th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide.
Also, why a local restaurant is at the center of a statewide controversy over a new ingredient on the menu.
Plus, we'll take a look at the upcoming NFL draft and some Fresno State players who hope to have their name called. Fresno State Focus starts now.
Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Joshua Robinson.
And I'm Jasan Stymons. Friday marked the 100th years anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, and I was on campus Thursday evening to kick off the monumental event. It was a historic night Thursday as Fresno State unveiled the Armenian Genocide Monument on the eve of the 100th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. 4,000 people crowded the Maple Mall to see what will influence many Armenians in the Fresno community. Ovasana Sinoyan says it will have a big impact on our local culture.
If we didn't fight, obviously this 100th year commemoration would not take place today if it was not for the community here and all around the world remembering it every year on this day.
The Armenian Genocide Monument is the first on a university campus in the country. The monument was built to commemorate the 1.5 million lives lost in the genocide. It was made not only to commemorate, but to educate about genocides and inspire the local community. Only 1,000 people were expected during the unveiling, and President Castro says it will be a day to remember.
Great night here at Fresno State. I think today will be one of the most important days in the history of Fresno State. And I'm so proud to be serving as president with this monument going on.
The evening ended with a ribbon cutting and people were welcome to see the monument for the first time. The following morning continued as our Armenian studies students put on a memorial for the centennial anniversary with speakers, songs, and poems. Putting a flower in the center of an Armenian Genocide monument is how many Armenians every year pay their respects on April 24th. Paul Halajian says designing the structure was not easy.
To speak for 1.5 million Armenians who were martyred and all of their descendants throughout the world, it's really daunting. So we didn't approach this lightly. It's been a daunting but humbling assignment.
That's great. The monument is in the middle of a large Armenian community, and over 10,000 Armenians live in the Fresno County.
After being banned for nearly a decade, foie gras is now legal to sell to California restaurants. I had a chance to see how the controversial ingredient is affecting Fresno locals, including one of our faculty members on campus.
Fresno State's Dr. Two Trees was originally drawn to Guri's Grub House for its craft beer selection, but as a practicing vegan, he quickly found other reasons to keep coming back.
It seemed to me like Guri's was really focusing on a quality, local, sustainable product.
But he stopped supporting Guri's when he learned that one of their burgers now features foie gras, an enlarged duck liver traditionally achieved by force feeding. In 2004, a law was passed making it illegal to produce or sell foie gras in the state of California. But this past March, a federal judge ruled that ban unconstitutional, and the controversial item has been popping up on California menus ever since.
It's a difficult issue.
Andrew Fenton is an assistant professor in Fresno State's philosophy department. He has wrestled with the dilemma of foie gras as part of his research on animal philosophy.
For foie gras ducks, it's very difficult to get a definitive, it's clearly causing them so much suffering that we ought to stop, because animals adapt.
But according to Chef Megan Beck, a lot of popular opinion is fueled by old ways of thinking and outdated practices. She says that she buys her foie gras from a progressive, forward-thinking farm.
They use a cage-free approach. They also don't use the force-fed tubes. It's more of a bottle system, and they're simply not stopped from eating, but they are certainly not force-fed.
And how does Dr. Two Trees feel about this progressive new approach? He's definitely willing to learn more.
It would definitely influence whether or not I would go back to Guri's.
And as a matter of fact, that lift of the ban is up for appeal as well. So we don't know how long this controversy is going to go on.
Wow, I wonder how long it's going to be at the menu there. So.
Right.
Heart of the Horse is dedicated to helping people of all ages. Reporter Angelica Leilani tells us how one ranch is making a difference in people's lives.
You can go ahead and just keep your hands.
Stephanie Orozco has a newfound love for writing.
I started last September.
Orozco is a student at Fresno State, and she says it was her business marketing class that led her to the ranch.
Guy and Carrie, the owners, were like, "We have to get you on a horse," and I was really nervous.
She says while she's always loved animals, up until last year, she never dreamed she'd be able to ride a horse. That's because 7 years ago, Stephanie was in a car accident.
I have a spinal cord injury, and at the time I was paralyzed from the waist down, and I was told I would never walk again, and that I had 20% chance of ever feeling anything again.
Stephanie says she's tried several therapies over the years, but none have made more of an impact like riding horses here at Heart of the Horse Ranch.
It makes me feel really good.
Guy Adams started the therapy ranch with his wife as a way to help people with special needs. Adams says the horses help people with limited movement find their way in the world, while the people have helped him find his.
I think we've just been blessed to have a different way of life. I had a guy ask me, "What are you going to do? How are you going to retire?" As far as I'm concerned, I am retired. I'm living the life that I think God wanted me to live.
A life that gives Stephanie a chance to be herself.
It's just so much fun, and I forget that I'm actually working, and just being able to be away from my crutches and away from my disability, it just makes me feel free, and it's a nice feeling.
Angelica Leilani, Fresno State Focus.
Sexual assault on college campuses is an issue that is too often kept a secret. Ciclali Ocampo tells us how Fresno State is stepping up to help shine the light on this issue.
Looking at Kelsey Dugan, you would never be able to tell she was a victim of sexual assault when she was 12 years old.
It actually influenced mental illness, which is one of the main issues that I have nowadays because of the incident. And because of that incident, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder.
With her service dog Kona by her side, Dugan was inspired to sign the It's On Us pledge. The national campaign started in September by President Obama's attempts to raise awareness about sexual assault on college campuses. Criminology student Jessica Munoz says she doesn't think a lot of people truly understand what consent really means.
A lot of the times they just think that it's not a big deal, they don't understand how big of a deal it is and how big of a role that they can play in preventing it.
According to the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault Resource Guide, sexual assault is the second most common violent crime on college campuses. This is why Fresno State's Criminology and Women's Studies Department decided to bring the campaign to campus.
The message of this campaign is to help stop sexual assault by setting up this table in which each person can come to make their own promise.
Ophelia Williams, who led a panel discussion for the campaign, says it's heartbreaking to hear how much resistance victims face when trying to be heard.
These are crimes against humanity happening on their campuses, and they don't even want to take them seriously enough to investigate.
But Dugan remains hopeful that events like this will help prevent this crime in the future. Ciclali Ocampo, Fresno State Focus.
The weekend showers didn't stop people from churning out for the annual Walk MS, but it did create an interesting morning. Despite the rain, many people showed up to support the cause and raise money to find a cure for multiple sclerosis. Fox 26's Kobe Cerebral knew that the rain wouldn't stop people from coming out to the event.
No, I don't think so. If they believe in the cause and it's water, it's rain, you have an umbrella so you get a little wet, who cares? People that have MS, really, that's why we're here to help those.
More than 145,000 dollars were raised at the year's event, and all that were going towards to find a cure. To find out how you can become involved, go to nationalmssociety.org.
Bulldogs in the Kitchen is an event where the nutrition program teaches student athletes how to cook proper meals to eat for a healthy lifestyle. Fresno State Focus reporter Rodney Matthews went to see what's cooking.
Bulldogs in the Kitchen wrapped up last week and consisted of 6 total nights. What attracts the student athletes is free food, but they know they're being put to work. Athletes from all sports came out to learn how to make nutritious meals to fit their busy lifestyle. Micah St. Andrew is a freshman football player who enjoyed it so much, he came back for a second night just to make his favorite dessert.
The waffle mix is probably my favorite thing. It's the waffles and the crepes. The best thing I've ever eaten.
Tonight's main course, touchdown tacos. And this entree definitely scored with the student athletes. Student assistants taught hands-on lessons on everything from chopping to mixing. Lacey Harder was the assistant coordinator of the event, and she discusses how it felt to teach the basics.
Also, I just saw a football player learn how to cut an onion for the first time, and he's like, that's so cool. And that feels great. So it's instant rewarding for us and for them as well.
Eating healthy is a struggle for all college students, especially student athletes. With Bulldogs in the Kitchen, student athletes are now learning how to cook a nutritious meal for daily living. Tonight's menu, chicken tacos, guacamole, and for dessert, crepes. This is the 5th year the nutrition program has held Bulldogs in the Kitchen, and the numbers have continued to rise. Dr. Lisa Herzig is the head of the nutrition program, and she says about 500 student athletes have gone through this program.
What I like about this program too is that not only do they get an opportunity to come in the kitchen to practice their cooking skills, but it's also a team building opportunity for them to be able to work together and to negotiate, as well as they're all dancing and having fun too.
The student athletes are giving a cooking playbook to learn how to cook their own meals on a daily basis. They're not only learning how to cook, but they're having fun while doing it. Rodney Matthew, Fresno State Focus.
Finals week is fast approaching at Fresno State. Reporter Elisa Bernal tells us about the services on campus to help students prepare to ace those exams.
May is just around the corner, and with May coming around, it brings with it the most dreaded season for Fresno State students, Finals Week. The Learning Center in the Henry Madden Library is here to help students start studying and get ready to ace their finals. Support and advisor Laura Hackett says tutors are available to help students.
So they make sure that it's not like handing students answers, it's really teaching them how to learn. So everything we do is very much student-centered in a way that the student learns how to learn for themselves. It's not just a tutor handing them the answers to their homework.
The Learning Center has various services to offer like tutoring and professor or self-referrals to SupportNet.
The Learning Center, located in the basement of the library, offers one-on-one tutoring in any subject to Fresno State students at no cost.
Tutors with the Learning Center are undergraduates who are tutoring in specific subjects. One of the tutors, Corey Walker, says he uses more of a questioning method when helping students he tutors.
And we ask a lot of questions just to make sure that they understand why this works, why they're doing all these things.
Students like Maritza Perez have taken advantage of the Learning Center services and are reaping the benefits.
It has really helped me. I've been able to complete my homework more efficiently, and I was able to raise my math test grade by 20 points.
The Learning Center is available for students every week, Monday through Friday, and is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And tutors are ready to help you get ready to ace your finals. Elisa Bernal, Fresno State Focus.
As graduation nears, many seniors are asking themselves how to get their dream job. Professor and author Betsy Hayes is here with some tips on finding that dream job. Thanks for joining us today, Betsy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you have your book, Land Your Dream Career in College, the Guide to Success, right?
The complete guide to success.
Of
yes.
course. And it's just now on paperback, right? How's that?
Yeah, it's very exciting. The hardcover copy came out a couple of years ago, and so it did pretty well. And so the publisher said, "Hey, do you want to do paperback?" And we of course said, "Yes, that would be great." What I love is obviously that means it's less expensive, and so which of course is a big deal for students.
Yeah, it's easier for the college students to afford, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about some tips that you have inside your book for college students.
Okay, absolutely. This really is not about how to get an A. This is not about finals or papers or grades. This is all about everything else that students need to do while they're in college. College offers so much opportunity for students, and if they maximize it, they really can land their dream job before they graduate, or 2 weeks after.
So graduation is in about 2 weeks. What are some tips for students right now? What do you think? Some tips for them to do to prepare for
the upcoming
The
weeks.
next step. Yes, the next step. Absolutely. So obviously having a solid professional brand. Hopefully that's something that the graduates have worked on throughout their college career. Chapter 2. And so really kind of figuring out what you want to be professionally. And the way you figure out what your brand is you think about, okay, well, if the people that I've worked with and my classmates were in a room and I wasn't in the room with them, what would they say about me? That really kind of, if you really kind of think about it like that, then you can really think about, okay, what are the things that I've done consistently? What are the things that I've really promoted about myself? And then, you know, those are the things that you can either work on if they're not so great, right? And then further emphasize if they are the brand that you want. And then, of course, the social media checkup, right? You want to make sure that everything on your social media shows the best version of yourself, because it can really help you build your brand.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming by today, Betsy. That was Betsy Hayes, a public relations professor at Fresno State. You can find her book in paperback on Amazon.com.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, how the local community came together to commemorate and celebrate Earth Day. Plus, a look at our 5-day forecast as the Valley prepares for summer. All that when we come back.
I am Fresno State, and I'm going to show you why. Here's the beautiful and newly constructed Henry Madden Library, which has a massive collection. The Save Mart Center, which is our sports venue and one of the best attended in the entire country. We're absolute pioneers in the agricultural sciences, having led to the production of the first university winery and drawing in a diversity of students to achieve academic success over the past 100 years. And you know, I wish I had time to tell you about everything else, but in reality, I think you're just going to have to come see for yourself.
And it's a nice warm day outside, and I took a photo earlier today of Fresno State students enjoying the weather on campus. However, that's not the case across the states. As you can tell, there is some low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico creating some thunderstorms in the southeast states, and you can see more activity here in the Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas with activity. And then over here on our California map, you see that even though it's nice and sunny, we have the blue that is indicating some thunderstorms in the Sierras. And unfortunately, we are experiencing some unhealthy air quality today in Fresno County. So if you're sensitive to allergies, you may want to stay inside because it is high today and moderate around the other counties. And if you're looking at our 5-day forecast, we have 90s today and 91 throughout, and the 90s throughout the weekend, throughout the weekday, and then we dip back into our mid 80s, and that's all for weather. And over to you, Courtney, for entertainment.
Earth Day Fresno had an event last Saturday at Radio Park and celebrated the community together to learn more about it. I had the chance to attend the event and experience Earth Day myself. Earth Day Fresno isn't just an event, it's a great way to bring the community together, and that is one of their main purposes. Connie Young is the co-coordinator of Earth Day Fresno. She is very passionate about informing the community on how it can be a cleaner environment.
We celebrate, we learn from each other, and another piece of this is that we have green vendors here, and it's very important that we support them and promote them, and let people know about the businesses that are trying hard to be responsible and take care of the planet, as well as make a profit.
Pete Moe is the renewable electric car vendor. He loves cars that run on energy. Electric cars are becoming more popular, and the car show is getting a lot of attention with the Teslas.
We do it every year. We put a lot of effort into it, and it's just to try to show you that all this green stuff, it works. It's now. It's also our future, and take a look around and enjoy it.
The event was delayed 2 hours because of the rain. While vendors were setting up, there were live performances, art activities for kids, and food trucks.
It started out pouring rain this morning, and the community didn't know if the Earth Day event was still going to go on. But it didn't stop vendors from setting up, and it didn't stop the community from coming out and celebrating Earth Day.
Silver Gasiola is with the Conservation Corps. He loves to help conserve water in any way he can.
For us, it gets the word around about the seas. We are a conservation corps. We try to conserve our natural resources. We recently stopped washing our vehicles as often. We actually rarely do it unless it's really needed.
Earth Day Fresno is all volunteer-based. It's a way to educate newcomers who don't know anything about making the environment greener. Rain or shine, the 101st annual Clovis Rodeo Parade still went on last Saturday in downtown Clovis. It's a way to bring family and friends together as well as the community. There were marching bands, horse-drawn vehicles, mounted groups, and themed floats. The floats competed to win the $1,500 prize money and overall suit. Firefighters marched for Captain Pete Dern and his family, who was critically injured when he fell through the roof during a house fire. Spanish pop rock band Maná is coming back to Fresno this June. Their tour is named Burning Bed, which is also the name of their newest album. On their tour, Maná fans will be able to hear songs off their new album. They are calling it their most romantic one yet. Shakira is featured on their hit single, titled My Truth. Aside from hearing new songs, fans will also be able to enjoy and sing along to songs that define the band like I Cried You a River, Angel of Love, and You Are My Religion, and others. So make sure to get your tickets at the Save Mart Center box office or online for the concert on June 16th at 8 p.m.
Palsy will be hosting events over the next 2 weekends to help bring awareness and raise money for the UCP of Central California. Here to tell us more about these events is the Director of Corporate Giving, Barry Falk. Thank you for joining us, Barry.
My pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit more about United Cerebral Palsy. What is UCP all about?
Sure, well, our name is really misleading. It's usually the first thing I say. You know, UCP serves 1,000 children and adults with disabilities within the entire Central California area. But our name, United Cerebral Palsy, certainly alludes to that we serve people with cerebral palsy. Of course, that's true. We actually serve people with a full range of disabilities, though. So we serve adults and children with autism, Down syndrome, various intellectual disabilities, and of course, cerebral palsy as well. So we're really providing direct services to 1,000 children and adults really throughout the entire Central Valley area.
Excellent. Now, tell us about that first event, Noche con Amigos, on May 2nd.
Sure. So we're really excited. We have some supporters of us that have decided to host a fundraiser. This is the first year event for us. It's taking place this Saturday night. It's on the 2nd, starting at 5 o'clock at JR and at Arias' house and Mark Brooks' house. It's going to be a night where we're going to have a Mexican fiesta, just some great food, silent auction, and just basically a good time. It's kind of a 21 and older event, I should say, worth at least noting, and certainly hope to raise a bunch of money for UCP on Saturday night as well.
Now, I've never heard of a poker run, the event on May 9th. What is it? What's the Thunder Run?
So the Thunder Run is our annual motorcycle ride. It's the 9th annual this year, taking place on Saturday, May 9th. The poker run is essentially all of the motorcycle riders stop at 5 different locations, and they can buy a poker hand. And there's a raffle essentially for those who get the best hand. So as the motorcycle riders do a stop, they pull from a deck of cards, 1 card at each stop, and whoever ends up with the best hand also wins a little bit of money. Of course, at the end of the day, all of the Thunder Run is to benefit UCP, and so we're really excited to be putting on the 9th event, and I think it's going to be really successful on Saturday the 9th.
You know, that sounds like such an original event. I hope it goes well for you, Barry.
It's going to be
fun.
fun.
Thank you for coming and talking to us. I appreciate it. For more information on UCP and their upcoming events, visit ccucp.org. Coming up in sports, we'll recap this past weekend and get an update on Fresno State softball.
Also, the NFL draft is tomorrow night, and some Bulldogs are looking to have their names called. Stay tuned for sports with Keenan Tyson Sanders.
Good for you. But you were too insecure to show Fresno State pride? That's a problem. Because you never bothered to show pride in your school, you are shunned by other students. Professors can smell the stench of impending failure on you and take no pity. Even the mass communication students agree you have no future. But all of this could have been avoided if you simply showed your pride for Fresno State.
I am Fresno State.
Fresno State pride. Show it or face the consequences.
I am and always will be.
There are thousands of athletes across the nation that get the chance to play Division I football, but only 256 will hear their names called to determine if they will play at the next level. The annual NFL Draft features eligible players from college programs being selected by each team. Several Bulldog athletes took part in the Fresno State Pro Day, which gave pro scouts a chance to evaluate each player to see if they're a fit for their organization. Players like Deron Smith, Tyler Davison, and Carl Mickelson have all drawn attention from pro teams, with the players being on the verge of realizing their dream of becoming a pro player.
All that stuff, it hit me, and then just seeing all the NFL scouts and the teams there, and just it was surprising me, but I mean, I was training for since January for it.
The draft will take place in Chicago this year, beginning on Thursday, April 30th, and concluding on May 2nd. The Fresno Grizzlies had started off the season red hot before feeling the sting of the Salt Lake Bees with a string of 3 road losses and the series finale being suspended due to rain. But as the old saying goes, there's no place like home. We take you to Sunday's matchup against Reno. Bottom of the 5th inning, Grizzlies already lead by a score of 3-0 when at this point Preston Tucker busts this one wide open with one swing of the bat, a 3-run shot over the center field wall. He's trotting along. See this one again in slow motion. Look at the torque of the hips. He is a dangerous man. I'll tell you what, Bulldogs lead 6-0 at that point. But not long after, the product of Santo Domingo, Domingo Santana says, "Hasta la vista, baby," his second home run of the game. He would finish with 3 for 4 on the day as the Grizzlies go on to win their second straight of the series by a score of 9-0. They would win again on Monday before dropping the finale by a score of 3-2. Fresno State Athletics may be well known for its football, basketball, and baseball programs, but the women's golf program has been making some noise this year as well, setting school records along the way. Here with us today is Machen Lee of the women's golf team. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So recently on Monday, you were selected to go to the NCAA Regional in South Bend. How did you find out, and how do you feel about it?
I'm very excited. I found out Monday they had the selection show on the Golf Channel, so just had a few of my teammates and my coaches there, and some staff from the athletic department.
Now, you're the only senior on this young squad. What's it kind of been like to have seniority over everybody?
It's been good, and a lot of ups and downs. It's a little emotional because this is my last year, but just got to keep being confident and looking at the stuff that's been going well.
You have a few teammates like Hannah Soderson, who you said that you're very close with. Do you feel like the program's in good hands since you'll be taking off after this season?
Oh yeah, she will definitely lead the pack next year. I'm super proud of her, and the pack's been doing really good. This is my second year with my new coach, and she's been doing really good.
And one last question, how do you stay so zoned in when you're out there? I know in golf you have to be very calm. How do you stay so zen about everything?
I think most of all, just for me, just be confident in my abilities and skills, and just go out there and trust myself, and most of all, just have fun.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Machen Lee, of the Fresno State women's golf team. Her season isn't over yet. She'll be competing in South Bend, Indiana on May 7th through the 9th. She's the #1 individual seed. Thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck. The Fresno State softball team is on the verge of making the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. Eric Bentley has the story.
The Fresno State softball team hosted their last home series this weekend against the Nevada Wolfpack. Friday night was Heroes Night, honoring police, firefighters, paramedics, military, and veterans. Saturday was Bark in the Park, where fans could bring their dogs to the game and watch from the berm. And Sunday was Senior Day, honoring the 5 Bulldogs seniors. Fresno State head coach Trisha Ford talked a little bit more about the impact those seniors have.
Absolutely. I think we've got great seniors, and we're blessed to have 5 of them, and they all fill very different roles.
Fresno State was the preseason favorite to win the Mountain West Conference, and with their sweep of Nevada this past weekend, they now control their destiny in the Mountain West Conference.
Senior Brenna Moss talked a little bit more about the team's success this season.
Yeah, I think that we really meshed well together as a team this year, and we have a lot of talented players on this team, and I think that we all stepped up and played to our level of play, and I thought we did a really good job in the beginning.
Pitching has been a strong suit for the Bulldogs all season, and this weekend was no different. Junior pitcher Jill Compton started all 3 games this weekend with a tremendous stat line. Compton only allowed 3 runs on 9 hits with 25 strikeouts in 16 1/3 innings pitched. Coach Ford explained how key Compton is for the Dogs.
And I think it takes a special person to mentally come out and face the same team for 3 days in a row. I mean, that's pretty difficult to do, and she does a phenomenal job.
With 4 games left on the season, as long as the Dogs can win, they'll be the Mountain West champions and earn the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Eric Bentley, Fresno State Focus.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, we'll highlight Cinco de Mayo and take a look at the true meaning behind the holiday and its festivities.
Plus, with the rise of enrollment, see how university officials are implementing to accommodate students.
Also, with graduation just weeks away, we'll hear from Fresno State seniors and find out the memories that they will leave behind.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.